is at the podium. Let's listen in.
The Moontown Brewery that we celebrated, and the journey that I've been on over the last 7 years, most people would think you'd been crazy to do it in the first place. Dear, what do you think about that?
No, it's good.
Okay. All I can tell you is 7 years ago in August, when I declared to run for the U.S. Senate, there weren't many believers. And even folks close to you wondered, did you really have a game plan? Well, my game plan started very simply when I got to be the luckiest man alive to marry this lady here. Now you do all these fancy commercials and they don't even talk about you, they talk about my wife. We were lucky, I think, going way back when we made the decision, unlike most did then, to move back to our hometown. And when we did that, that set the stage for everything else that followed. Most people didn't think that made sense either. But had we not done that, I'm almost certain we wouldn't be here this evening. Yeah. When you marry someone that says the priority is to have my own business and raise a family, how in the hell could you argue with that? So we came back and did just that. We lived the American dream, blessed with 4 kids, 3 of them running the business I ran for 37 years, and a family that's always been behind me and Maureen in anything that we did. That truly is what life is about. And so often you get caught in the groove where you don't want to get out of it, because that's success measured in one way. To me, once you do it, I think you need to look beyond that. And that's what I decided to do 7 years ago. So that was a tricky navigation when you didn't really have any real experience at it. As I've always said, politics and government are a lot easier than running a business. Any of you that own businesses, yeah. Hell, in government, you just got to be smart enough to not spend more than you take in. In business, you're signing the note. Your livelihood is on the line. And by the way, there are dozens of competitors in a real market that want to take a bite out of your flank. That is difficult. Now, the difference is when you jump into the political arena, business is over a span of time. 2 hard deadlines in politics, May and November. And then you need to take all the skills that you've learned in the real world, to where you've been understated, underestimated, and you've overperformed, and then it's like shooting ducks on a pond. Because it's so assumed that you got to come from that pathway. I never did assume that. When you go to the U.S. Senate and you get a crew mostly of Hoosiers that come out there with you, you end up being the most successful freshman Senate office. That's something to be proud of. And yeah. And then in issues that really count, like healthcare, education, agriculture, you get more done than the senators out there you got to wheel out of there after 3 decades. Do you think I believe in term limits? Yes, I do. everybody campaigns on it, and then they have amnesia once they get there. And let's throw in a balanced budget amendment to boot. As hard as it was to get there, it begs the question, why would you give it up? Wasn't going to do it more than 2 terms anyway. And when I saw the fork in the road to burn another 6 years there, when the numbers, the fact that they're borrowing now $1 trillion every 6 months, and it was annually just 6 years ago, the interest on the debt's as much as what we spend on defense. We need to shock that place into reality. And when you're an entrepreneur by trade, you generally, if you survive, know how to pick the best fork in the road. And there are many of them. And to me, if it was coming back to lead our state where you can set the agenda, where you're going to get along with the legislature, imagine what you can do with that. So we can be guaranteed that we're going to maintain great cash flow. That's a chip shot. I had to do that for 37 years. But then what are you going to do to make Indiana